Hi, my name is Cobus. I'm a director at ENG.mp4 in Stellenbosch. We're a regulatory and sectoral economics consultancy, and while we are a private sector institution, we do have very close relations with the academic community of Stellenbosch University. Well, the team was initially extremely excited about working on the project with Citadel. It is not only original research, it hasn't been done in South Africa, but a lot of economics work often is fairly dreary, and the art world has so much more to it than just numbers. We initially looked at creating naive price indexes very similar to what you would use on the JSE or house prices, and soon found that due to the underlying differences, the heterogeneity of art, this wasn't suitable. And we started looking at international best practice, and certainly hedonic models came out as the most appropriate pricing methodology for pricing art. It's similar to what is used internationally in artprice.com, for instance, but does differ from something well known like the May-Moses Index, which works on repeat sales regressions. Art is characterized by having a lot of subcomponents that influence its final price, aspects such as whether the artwork was signed, or what the medium is it's painted or sculpted on, or what it's sculpted from. There are so many subcomponents to an artwork that makes it intrinsically more valuable or less valuable, the period in the artist's life, whether it was dated, whether it has a name, etc., that again, using simple averages weren't appropriate. Hedonic models allow you to, over time, allow for these different characteristics to have lesser and greater influences over the artwork's cost or price. It's calculated back towards the cost aspect, and to estimate the coefficients that are individually ascribed to each of these characteristics to be estimated econometrically. These coefficients then are used to create the final output, which in this case will be the index. We obviously have subcomponents for all the different mediums and for all the different artists, and once you aggregate all of those, you do get, for a specifically broad-based representative sample, a robust statistical result. The reason we used volume to pick the sample rather than value is that you don't want a Maggie Loebsch or Irma Stern to have a disproportionate impact on the model results. Therefore, again, in line with international best practice, we used hammer prices and total volume in the market to first aggregate the top 20 artists, then we also did the top 50 and then the top 100 artists by volume of transactions rather than by value. And then we tested the three groups against one another to see whether there was a marked disparity between the different groups. We found that there wasn't much. Therefore, we used the top 100 artists, and obviously the sample will change over time as people come and go out of or artists come and go out of the sample. It does, however, reflect 61% of the total volume in the market over the last 11 years and almost 87% by value. I think it's important to realize that the intention behind a price index is to track broad movements in price over time rather than absolute movements in price. So we're not trying to assess whether one artist is more important to the broad market. We're trying to assess the validity of broad price movements over time. Obviously, some artists will over and underperform. Much like you have listed companies on the JSE, some do better than others and their share prices will reflect that. While the model already relies on a fairly extensive database, obviously you take these amount of results and you aggregate them, it is a larger number. But the reality is that as more results become available, the model will become more stable as the coefficients stabilize over time. The more data, obviously, the better. The Citadel Art Price Index is unique in the South African art context in that it is updated and published biannually for free. And if you would like more information on the methodology we used or to contact us, please do so at www.econex.co.za.